Football is just like a comic book. There will always be the heroes and the villains. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the biggest villains the game has seen. Step into the 18-yard box as we look at 5 of the most hated players in football. We'll start with Sergio Ramos. He is hated by a lot of fans around the world because of his many dangerous tackles, arrogance, and fearlessness. Ramos is one of those guys who you'd almost certainly hate if he doesn't play for your club. Ramos is a hard tackler and a fighter, and that earned him a lot of red cards in his career. He will do anything to win a football game, including attempting to get into players' heads, play acting like he did against 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 in the 2017 Champions League final, and even straight up hurting his opponents like he did to Salah in the 2018 Champions League final. Ramos is persona non grata in Egypt and Merseyside because of what he did to Salah in that final. He is also not welcome in Barcelona and a few other places. But does he care? Surely not. Another guy who surely doesn't care how much he is hated is Diego Costa. In fact, he seems to feed off that hate. In his prime, Costa knew just how to find the back of the net, but he also knew exactly how to annoy opposing fans and players. Costa would put his hands on players, stamp on them, and even spit at them. When it comes to being provocative and violent, Costa was always top of the list, so it's no surprise that many people don't like him. And this is not just me saying it. In 2015, 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿 named him the most hated footballer in the world, so he has definitely earned his place on this list. But Costa is surely not the only centre forward on this list. Can you guess which other striker belongs here? Tell me in the comments, and we'll see who was correct later. But for now, let's talk about another defender, Pepe. The Portuguese centre-back was one of the biggest villains in world football, especially back when he was still at Real Madrid. There was absolutely nothing Pepe did not do. He would intentionally stamp on players like he once did to Messi in a Clásico, often dive to try and gain unfair advantage, and he would also kick players unprovoked, just like he infamously did to Francisco Casquero in a La Liga game some years back. To be fair, Pepe became calmer as he got closer to retirement, but he already had a reputation which made fans hate him so much. Now to the other centre forwards. Did you guess Luis Suarez? Then you're correct. You probably love him if you're a Barcelona, Ajax, or Liverpool fan. Most other guys hate him. Ghanaians hate him for that Hand of God incident in 2010, which stopped them from becoming the first African nation to reach the semi-final of the World Cup. Italians hate him for biting Chiellini at the 2014 World Cup. France and Man United fans hate him for allegedly racially abusing Patrice Evra. Chelsea fans hate him for biting Ivanovic. Everton fans hate him for that infamous celebration he did against them when he mockingly threw himself on the floor in front of David Moyes, and many football fans and lovers hate him for always diving and play acting. That's almost the entire football world against him. But if you think people hate Suarez, then what would you say about Mario Balotelli? This guy was a very unique figure in many respects. Many people believe that, with how talented he was, he would have had a much better career if he was better behaved, but he was just always doing things that got people riled up, frustrated, or straight up enraged. And unlike many other players on this list, Balotelli was also a pain in the flesh of his own teammates and coaches. He once got into trouble for throwing darts at a youth team player in training. His explanation? It was a prank. Back when he was at Man City, he once set a part of his apartment on fire after setting off fireworks indoors. Balotelli was hated by many rival fans, but even most of the people he worked with were tired of him. Roberto Mancini, who coached him at City, called him crazy and told him he would have given him a punch on his head every day if they had played together 10 years earlier. Jose Mourinho, who coached him at Inter Milan, said Balotelli was unmanageable. The Italian striker is even hated by his own family. This guy denied his own daughter for 2 whole years before finally taking up responsibility. Of course, some of the hate Balotelli gets is pure racism and is really despicable. But there are a lot of reasons fans do not like this guy. But in your books, who are the most hated footballers ever? Get in the comments and talk to me.